Super Typhoon Rega, known locally as Nando, has left a trail of devastation across the Philippines, with its catastrophic winds and torrential rains triggering massive floods and deadly landslides. The storm, categorized as the most powerful to hit the country this year, has claimed multiple lives, injured dozens, and displaced thousands, overwhelming local disaster response teams and plunging entire provinces into crisis. While the northernmost regions bore the brunt of its fury, the storm's extensive circulation, amplified by the southwest monsoon, caused widespread chaos and destruction far from its direct path. Super Typhoon Rega made landfall on the remote Babayan Islands in Cagayan Province on Monday afternoon, September 22, 2025, with winds gusting up to 295 kilometers per hour. The sparsely populated island group, home to thousands of residents, was subjected to a direct assault from the Category 5 equivalent storm. Communication lines were immediately severed, leaving residents isolated and initial damage assessments reliant on satellite imagery and reports from aid workers struggling to reach the affected areas. The storm's passage was preceded by urgent, mandatory evacuation orders across northern Luzon, with the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA, issuing its highest alert, wind signal number 5. Authorities warned of life-threatening storm surges exceeding 3 meters in height, along with destructive winds and torrential rainfall that would surely overwhelm the region. While the super typhoon's winds were destructive, the heaviest human toll in the immediate aftermath came from rain-induced landslides. In the mountainous province of Benguet, known for its challenging terrain, 9 people were tragically killed after a landslide swept through a barangay in Tuba. Local authorities reported that the landslide, triggered by incessant rain, destroyed several vehicles and trapped occupants. Rescue and retrieval operations were hampered by debris and continued soil instability, creating a perilous environment for emergency responders. Another casualty was reported in San Mariano, Isabela, where a person was swept away and drowned after falling into a swollen river. Initial reports indicated that the victim was attempting to cross the river during the storm, a risky maneuver that ended in tragedy. In the same province, a tornado reportedly damaged dozens of houses, adding another layer of misery to a region already battered by Rega's wrath. These tragic incidents highlight the recurring vulnerability of mountainous and low-lying communities to the combined threats of landslides and floods during powerful typhoons. The Philippine Geological Survey had previously identified thousands of villages at risk across the country, including hundreds in Metro Manila, where flooding was extensive despite the typhoon's distance. The damage from Super Typhoon Rega extends far beyond the human cost. Widespread power outages left countless households and critical facilities in the dark. The provinces of Cagayan, Apayao, and Baton's experienced total blackouts, severely hindering rescue and relief efforts. In the aftermath, aerial footage and on-the-ground reports began to reveal the scale of the destruction. Homes reduced to rubble, vital crops and agricultural land flooded, and infrastructure, including roads and bridges, either damaged or rendered impassable. The displacement figures tell a sobering story. As per initial government assessments, over 10,000 people were evacuated to emergency shelters across northern Luzon, with aid agencies mobilizing resources to provide food, water, and medical assistance. However, with many areas still isolated, the full extent of the displacement and damage remains unclear. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and relevant government agencies have vowed to expedite relief and recovery operations, emphasizing the need for a swift and coordinated response. However, the logistical challenges presented by the widespread damage, combined with ongoing hazards like potential flash floods and secondary landslides, pose significant hurdles. Furthermore, the recent history of devastating storms, including incidents involving corruption in flood control projects in Metro Manila, has fueled public frustration and calls for greater transparency and accountability. The public demands assurance that allocated funds are being used effectively to protect communities, especially the most vulnerable, from the next inevitable storm. As rescue teams continue their dangerous work and displaced residents confront the daunting task of rebuilding their lives, the focus shifts to both immediate relief and long-term resilience. The Philippines, a nation long accustomed to the annual barrage of tropical cyclones, must now grapple with the sobering reality that these storms are not only more frequent, but also more ferocious, demanding a collective and decisive response to secure a safer future for its citizens. Quezon City was battered by torrential rains and powerful winds that led to widespread flooding, leaving vast swathes of the metro's largest city submerged and its residents reeling from the storm's impact. The calamity, amplified by the enhanced southwest monsoon or habitat, has displaced thousands of families and prompted a citywide emergency response, exposing once again the vulnerability of urban centers to extreme weather events. The perfect storm began to brew over the weekend as Super Typhoon Nando, which was initially forecast to hit the northernmost tip of Luzon, intensified into a formidable storm system. While its eye was expected to make landfall in the Babayan Islands, its immense circulation and strength significantly enhanced the southwest monsoon, funneling a massive volume of moisture toward Metro Manila. The combined assault of Nando's rain bands and the strengthened habitat resulted in a relentless downpour that began on Sunday, September 21st, and reached its peak intensity on Monday, September 22nd, overwhelming the city's drainage systems and flood mitigation efforts. On Monday evening, reports of flooding began to flood social media and official channels. The Metro Manila Council's Flood Control and Information Center reported several major thoroughfares in Quezon City as impassable. Among the hardest-hit areas were the low-lying sections of the city, particularly those adjacent to major waterways. In an interview with the Manila Times, an official from the Flood Control Center confirmed that flooding reached waist to chest-deep levels along G. Araneta Avenue, particularly at intersections with P. Florentino, NS Amaranto, and Maria Clara Streets. Eyewitness reports and videos shared online showed residents navigating the murky, fast-moving floodwaters with whatever they could use to stay afloat, as cars and other vehicles were rendered useless. Quezon City's Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, DRRMC, was quick to issue preemptive evacuation orders for flood-prone barangays, anticipating the deluge. As early as Saturday, September 20th, the national DRRMC had already placed Metro Manila on alert, warning that 127 barangays in Quezon City were at high risk of flooding. The early warnings, however, did not prevent the widespread disruption. By Monday, a video posted on YouTube by Inquirer.net showed a somber look at the scale of the disaster, capturing the scenes of chaos and helplessness in several residential and commercial areas. As floodwaters continued to rise, rescue and evacuation teams from the Quezon City government and various national agencies worked tirelessly to assist affected residents. Thousands of individuals, many of them senior citizens and children, were transported from their homes to designated evacuation centers across the city. Reports from the field indicate that rescue operations were challenging due to the powerful currents and the sheer volume of water. The local government units, LGUs, have since been providing temporary shelter, food, and medical assistance to the displaced families. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, was also quick to respond, with its disaster offices placed on high alert and pre-positioned resources, ensuring that aid was readily available to the most vulnerable communities. In a statement, DSWD Secretary Dumlao assured the public of the government's preparedness, noting that quick response teams were on standby to assist LGUs in facilitating evacuations and aid distribution. The flooding has had a devastating effect on the city's infrastructure and economy. Major roads and thoroughfares were rendered impassable for several hours, bringing traffic to a standstill and effectively paralyzing daily life. Commuters and motorists were left stranded, and supply chains were disrupted. The suspension of classes and government work on Monday, September 22nd, ordered by the palace, was a necessary measure to ensure public safety and minimize the chaos. Beyond the immediate disruption, the flooding is expected to have a lasting socio-economic impact. Homes and businesses have been damaged, and residents will face the long and difficult task of recovery and rebuilding. The incident also serves as a stark reminder of the country's need for a robust and comprehensive flood control program that can withstand the increasing intensity of tropical cyclones. The flooding in Quezon City is not merely a consequence of a single weather event, but a culmination of several factors, including the climate crisis and poor urban planning. Experts and activists have long pointed out that rapid urbanization and the paving of natural waterways have exacerbated the city's vulnerability to floods. Quezon City, with its sprawling urban landscape, has seen its natural floodplains and permeable surfaces gradually replaced by concrete, leading to increased surface runoff and a strained drainage system. Following the August 30th flash floods in Quezon City, State Weather Bureau Pagasa identified severe thunderstorms bringing unusually heavy rainfall in a short period as the cause. The rainfall volume recorded during that event was described as phenomenal. The current flooding under Super Typhoon Nando, however, demonstrates that even with early warnings, the city remains unprepared for the sheer volume of water unleashed by these intensified weather systems. The National DRRMC's advisory on the large number of barangays at risk underscores the systemic nature of the problem, pointing to the need for more than just localized fixes.
Ay, dadjay na.